So we're using the 243 today. Put 4 in the mag and then 1 up the spout. It's the 5th of April, so it's obviously around the start of the roebuck season. We've only taken 1 so far with a client, and so we're going to head out, have a look around the carbon tree area where we've got quite a high density of roe deer. Should be quite a few young roebucks there, so we need to try and thin a few of those out. So we're not looking for anything in particular, just go and have a look this morning and see what we can get. Obviously if we see a muntjac we'll probably take that as well. Coming up to a little rise in the ground. The field over the next hedge here is cultivated, but already we're looking like 2 fields away just to see if there's any roe in the far distance. We just got to be careful we don't skyline ourselves as we get to this hedge. So we've got a couple of muntjac out on some hedges in the far distance. I can see a couple of roe. I don't know what they are at this distance. So we'll just go along the edge of the hedge, drop down into this little bottom bit and have a look there. The only problem we've got this morning is we wanted to be out a little bit earlier really, because we've had a full moon pretty much. So obviously the deer are going to come out and feed all through the night. So we just have to hope that they haven't gone back in early. So I can see there's 2 or 3 roe along the right hand hedgerow with that cereal field in the far distance. And the wood you can see in the top is our big wood. So those red deer that we saw from the vehicle on the neighbouring bit of ground, they might have obviously been on the neighbouring bit of ground, but they quite often come from the big wood, go straight across in the line, out to my right here, and then down to the boundary area there. So I don't know if you guys can see in the camera, but there's a very light coloured single trunk of a tree up there in the far distance. There's 2 or 3 roe on the hedgerow running away from that back towards us. The issue we're going to have is we're dropping down into this little bit of a bottom, obviously coming up the other side, whether we'll get a safe shot on them or not with the skyline. Just have to give it a go and find out. Just come through the hedge to keep out of sight of those roe, and there's a couple of muntjac, so we'll just try and go down a little bit more, get a shot on one of those at least. Yeah. It's got a little bit of maize in the way. Too much rubbish in the way. Got it, So, hopefully we've got 3 down there. Obviously we're just walking down this hedge to try and have a look at these roe in the far distance, and spotted this muntjac doe with a reasonably big buck behind it. So I took the doe first, she ran to the right and went down. But then there was another young buck came out of the dead dock leaves over there in the cover. So I managed to get a shot on that one, and then just got out from the edge of the hedge to take the big buck that was there as well. So we'll go and have a look, make sure they're all accounted for, and then see if those roe are still there in the distance. So we've got all three of them lined up here. Obviously we shot that doe first. Was obviously hoping to get the bigger buck second, but when the doe ran off, obviously died a little bit further down the field. The big buck followed her down. The little buck here, that came out, so we took that one and then finished off with this big one. So yeah, good result. I wouldn't usually shoot anything this big. This is like a medal buck really, but when we're out in these open fields like this, it's actually quite difficult to find these big ones with a paying client. So sometimes in the right locations I'll take them myself, just because we've got to get numbers really. So yeah, fun few minutes, and we'll have a stalk up here now, see if we can find some of these roe still, if we haven't scared them off with the 3 shots we had. So we've just seen a deer laid out in a cereal field over here in the sun. Just wound the scope up just to have a better look at it, and it looks like a roe. It might be a little buck. So I think what we'll do is we'll just head up this hedgerow here anyway, see if the original ones are still out here on the right, and then we can swing round and have a closer look at that one. So we're just coming up to the top of the big wood here. There's 4 roe still feeding out in the field. The only thing we can really do is go straight towards them, see how close we get. So we're looking at the second one from the right. It's got one antler that's a bit shorter than the other. They're 150 metres away. Just wait for that one to turn a little bit. There's another one on the far left. The 2 on the far right, they've got little 4 points coming on their antlers. Okay, that one on the left, it's now gone behind the others. So to wait till they separate a little bit again. There's the 2 that are on the right, just stood in front of each other. So it's the one that's on the right now. Cool. Well, there we go. We spotted those 4 roe just on the top of the wood here in the field, all about the same age. We just got about 150 metres across the field, so the first one was a 150 metre shot. It was a buck with one antler a bit longer than the other. The other 3 were all fairly similar. 2 of them had little 4 points coming, and the other one, which hopefully is the one I shot, was the sort of lesser of the 3 remaining ones, just had 2 little antlers. So I think they've gone down. One's in the field, one's just on the edge of the wood. We'll go and have a look. Good. So obviously got these 2 together. This was the first one we shot. I didn't say when we set out this morning because I didn't want to jinx it, but I actually wanted to find this one this morning. He's obviously got one antler longer than the other. It doesn't look like there's any real damage there, it's just grown shorter than this one, so you kind of just got to assume that that's going to carry on like that for the rest of its life. And then this was the second one we shot. It just compared to the other 2 that it was with, the other 2 had more defined 4 points coming than this one, so again, it's just sort of small margins that you're looking for to decide which one to take. But as we said, we've got these fenced areas around here now with the carbon trees, so you've got a lot of roe that have been displaced out of other areas, so we need to try and just trim a few of these up to get the numbers to a bit more manageable level in the fields that are remaining. So 20 to 8, we'll just have a little walk down here, see if there's anything on that next field. Maybe that one that we saw laid out might still be there. If not, we'll head back to the truck and get all these sorted out. So we just come down to the end of the hedgerow, just looking across the field where that deer was laid out by the pylons. It's still there. It looks like a decent roebuck. Probably one to leave, but seeing as it's sat down, it looks pretty relaxed. We'll try and get a closer look at it anyway. Certainly got some reasonable visible antler from 400 metres away, so we'll go and have a closer look. We'll go down the edge of the wood and then sort of come round onto it. So hopefully that buck is just out of sight now over the crest of the field. So we're just going to cut out straight across this field and then try and come back round to it, just have a closer look at it. I can hear the farm sprayer in the distance, so it's usually what happens in the roebuck season. He's just about to shoot something or stalk up to it, and then the sprayer comes along and pushes it off. Just see him, he's still sat down in the field, just through the hedge here, but the wind's cutting across quite a lot now, so if we go any further up he's going to wind us. So we'll just go straight across and just have a closer look at him. He's quite thin in the antler. It could have a little 6 points, but it's probably one that we could take. Just depends if we can get a safe shot on it or not. But he's heard the sprayer in the distance now, so he's a bit more alert than he was. He's down. So we obviously stalked up this field. The wind started to come across us a little bit, and I don't know if he winded us, but we certainly heard the sprayer in the distance and he got a bit agitated. But managed to get up behind this dead oak tree, and all I could do was get as low as possible on the sticks, and just pick a gap to the left hand side of the trunk of the tree. I could see the little twigs in there, so I had to get right low enough so that I was 100% sure I wasn't going to hit any little twigs. But yeah, looked a good shot, and he's gone down over there, so we'll go and see what he looks like. He's got a nice big tick on the side of his head there. It's obviously the time of year when the ticks are moving around now. Yeah, to be fair, it's not quite as old as I thought it was. Obviously he's cleaned his velvet off now, unlike those two buck kids that we shot earlier. It's a nice 6-pointer, but really I'd hope to be a bit bigger, so it's probably a good one to take anyway. He's never going to be an enormous 6-pointer. It's probably just worth mentioning as well that because we run 2 cameras when we're filming this, to get the video of the deer when I shot it, Emily was quite low to the ground, filming through another hole in the hedge, so it might not have looked overly safe, but obviously where I was shooting from, there was enough backstop to take it. So yeah, good result. 3 muntjac, 3 row. Time to get back and get these sorted out. So all done back at the larder. It's another one of those mornings where I think we're going to go out and shoot 1 or 2 and we end up shooting a truckload. But yeah, obviously 3 muntjac and 3 roe. Interestingly, the big muntjac buck, that was 11 kilos. So although it's smaller in height than those small roe bucks we shot, it's about the same weight as the 2 small roe bucks we shot. So it just gives you an idea of like the bulk of a big muntjac buck. But yeah, they'll go in the chiller, go off to the game dealer as usual, and we'll be back next month when we'll be out for, well, probably roe bucks and no doubt a muntjac again.